Memories. There's a lot to it. So it's bigger than any one of us. No need to cast blame on auntie, uncle, mom, dad, whomever. You can. But it's bigger. It's bigger, And what I do is what is called critical discourse analysis. And this is my system called the Flower of Power. And it's basically got four petals to the flower, if you will. One, what is known. Two, what is literal. And what is known means what are the assumptions that you come with, your presuppositions, your biases, explicit, implicit. That means what's known. Like you're coming in knowing that shit, bro. You think you know it all. All right, check it out. Then you go in literal and real. What happened? What concretely occurred? And then what systems come out of that? What ways of knowing? How does the knowledge become legitimized? It becomes the real deal, the systematized kind of way of knowing. People stop to even question it. It just becomes invisible. It becomes felt almost. And then what lasts? There's symbols that kind of abstractly linger or last beyond all kinds of people and eras and spaces and places. And they're meaningful for us to reflect upon: the house as ancestor, the disappearing neighborhood, property as a time machine. That's a trip. The double bind of the house. Double bind means basically you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You can't win. Either way, you're screwed. The double bind here of the house, at least: emotional meaning, memory, belonging, continuity, family anchor. Economic meaning, asset, investment, taxable property, market commodity. The myth of permanence. We imagine the family house lasts forever. Capitalism ensures it rarely does. The mortgage. The mort means muerto. You're going to die. I mean, anyway, it's easy for me to say it like that. Intergenerational melancholy. How about that? Many inherit not the house, but the memory of almost inheriting it. So, look at this data. Deeds process, almost 300,000. Transfers, almost 125,000. 26. Inherited homes used as rentals, about 63%. Boomer share of 3-bedroom homes, 23.7%. Investor owned. Anyway, I'm digressing here. Interesting times, but this is the earliest that I can see. Excuse me, that the 13 has ever appeared as some type of signal or a symbol for a street gang in the United States of America. Of course, this is in Washington, and in fact, I have another article with the Puddin Gang. Let's see. The Puddin Gang, who precedes the 13 Gang. Wait, let me get my dates right first. The Puddin Gang, which precedes the 13 Gang, is, let's see, this is June. July. Oh wait, no, that's Detroit again. Let's X him out. This is June 19th. June 20th. June 20th. Oh. Same day. Different newspapers. Okay, trip. Okay. So interesting. Same day, June 20th, 1910. We'll go to DC first because this is relevant. That's where the 13 Gang was found. This is the Washington Times, Monday, June 20th, 1910. Remember the last time, the 13 tattoo with the Crimson Heart, that was 1937, Washington. So this is 27 years prior to that. Okay, check it out. Cop finds bad boys in lawless bands. A band is a gang. Banda. The trippy thing about gang is really it comes from, slave gangs, They used to the slave drivers would technologically and economically, ergonomically decide that they could get more bang for their buck and more you know earnings, not only for them but for the quote unquote enslaved people, if they did gangs, like they would run them, here to there, doing different types of work. The point is that gang comes from that, you're running gangs. Quickly in post-production, this made me think of the chain gang. That's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. Cop finds bad boys in lawless bands, say they drink, gamble, and smoke in the woods on Sundays. 3 bands of incorrigible boys known as the Woods Gang of Anacostia, the Dirty Dozen, and the Puddin' Gang. Okay, this predates the 13. So check out this, the Dirty Dozen. How about that? How about the 13 is an extension of the Dirty Dozen, just like I indicated prior. The 12 Days of Christmas, 12 Disciples, 12 Zodiac. It's got to be a 13th, right? I wonder when the Dirty Dozen came into, they were using it obviously in 1910. I mean, it was a movie that was probably made in the 50s or 60s or something. But maybe that's an old story, something about the Dirty Dozen. Shoot, that stuff might go back to Aesop's fables and stuff. I don't know. But these are some of the incorrigible boys. The Woods Gang, the Dirty Dozen, and the Puddin' Gang have been unearthed by Chief Probation Officer, the Reverend Zed H. Kopp of the Juvenile Court. Mr. Kopp says the 3 gangs have been organized deliberately for the purposes of drinking and gambling and general dissipation, which means just kind of like moving around doing stuff, like being here and there, like running to and fro, up and down in the world or whatever. And that his investigation showed that their existence is due to the carelessness of parents. Is that what it was? Well, times is rough, I mean, they're working, they're trying to, what do you want to do? Poor things might have ADHD, I don't know, it could be a lot going on. But it is interesting. The thing that I'm intrigued by as a researcher, again, what I do is critical discourse analysis, and I mix it with, a historical genealogical approach, which looks at what are called the regularities of society, the regularities of politics, which help to construct and, help make, visible and known and systematic the systems and institutions of society, which help to identify what we might call social problems or global issues that we aim to solve. And why do we do that? We do that because we love our neighbors, or whatever you believe in. And so it becomes really interesting. My specific interest, my acute focus is within the education systems, and I'm very interested in the so-called school to prison pipeline and all, again, the ecosystems around that. So that's why these stories are really interesting to me, among other reasons. Mr. Kopp says the 3 gangs have been organized deliberately for the purposes of drinking and gambling and general dissipation, and that his investigations show that their existence is due to the carelessness of parents. The gangs are hotbeds of juvenile iniquity, says the Reverend Mr. Kopp. As everyone knows, boys are the most imitative of creatures. In the case of these youngsters, they're doing about the same things that some of their parents are doing some of their parents are doing at ostensibly law-abiding clubs about town. Ostensibly, meaning they look like they're law-abiding, but there's something else going on. What's literally going on? Ostensible. When I usually I usually think about ostensible versus literal. You know, what do you think's going on? What's really going on? Mr. Cop describing the Woods gang said that every Sunday, the members of this organization meet in the woods back of Anacostia, drink, gamble, and read cheap literature.